All you gotta do is look 'em square in the eye and let 'em know who's the law. But I'm not like you. I don't have your courage. You've got it, all right. You just need to trust it. I don't reckon a man's come into your town that you can't measure up to. Just treat him fair and keep an eye on his gun hand. I'll try. I'll try.
Kettle's on, Geoffrey.
Thank you, Mrs. Clack.
I see that man Kilquade is in with Mr. Maguire.
I'd risk aerosol spray to be a fly on that office wall.
Your man sounds very bossy. I was scrubbing out in the foyer and I could hear him there.
You couldn't distinguish any words?
But I heard Kilquade laugh a few times. I mean a snigger now. And I heard him say charitable organisation once.
Did you hear Mr. Maguire?
Only that he was calm and didn't raise his voice. I just happened to be cleaning the floor right outside the door when Kilquade steps out and looks at me. And next thing the two of them went for a walk around the cinema.
I have a bad feeling about this man Kilquade.
Oh, I don't like the cut of him at all. The way his eyebrows meet. And the way he never looks you straight in the eye when he's talking to you.
While the minor characters talk, we cut to the main action. We start to see more close-ups as the two talk. The plot is beginning to twist and weave like a hangman's rope.
I've seen all I need to see.
Mr. Kilquade, you have inherited a small suburban cinema, not a multinational corporation.
I own this cinema. I can see that you're an incompetent manager and you've based your decisions on sentiment rather than business sense. So I'm taking over.
I always had your father's trust.
Ah, yes. What's the expression? Yes, fools seldom differ. Maguire, the term manager is lost on you. At best, you can be the minder of my cinema. But I can assure you that the changes start. I have a few ideas to put into effect, and I'll be taking advice from business associates on how to deal with this whole sorry mess.
Talk to your brothers.
They're as bad as my father, a doctor and a solicitor. What interest would they have in seeing a return in their new properties? But I'm different. I see the Apollo and I see an opportunity. That's the difference between you and me, Maguire. I'm an opportunist and you're a plodder. I look forward and you look back.
The Apollo is, as it always has been. This is a cinema for the local people. The market is no bigger and no smaller. They know this to be a place of family entertainment. Now, I've always run it as a clean and respectable part of the community. I think you should realize that you are the owner of a very fine family business.
Oh, spare me the sentiment. I'm going now, but tomorrow the changes start, whether you like them or not.
An image. A shot which says so much, yet not a word of dialogue is spoken. The Apollo is dark and warm. Familiar scenes caress the screen. The tracking shot moves slowly away. It moves along the aisle of the cinema and we see the sparse audience. The old couple is there, the man alone, the young couple eating popcorn. In the back row, a couple kiss. The tracking shot reaches Jim Maguire as he stands in his usual place in the alcove from the foyer. He stares transfixed at the screen. The film is reflected like tiny jewels in his dark eyes. He mouths the lines of the hero and gives a faint, sad smile. This is our hero. This is our man standing at the edge of a precipice. All is about to change. Prepare yourself for the hard cut.
Geoffrey! Geoffrey!
Daylight and the cold, hard floor of the foyer. The cans come crashing down and we see Sean's hysterical face. Geoffrey comes running out of the restroom as Sean almost hurtles into him.
Geoffrey, you won't believe it.
What's wrong?
I've collected the film from the distributor's office.
So what, for heaven's sake?
Well, it's not the film Mr. Maguire booked. It's not at all the film Mr. Maguire booked.
Was there a mistake?
No, that's it. The distributors say that Mr. Kilquaid has been to see them. He's made a whole new set of bookings, cancelled everything Mr. Maguire's done. You're not going to believe the film, Geoffrey.
Well, let me see.
Oh, no, don't look at the posters, Geoffrey.
Let me see. My God.
Angels of the night. Other men wanted their bodies. He wanted their lives.
This can't be right.
Well, you can phone them if you want to. They told me they were very sorry and they talked to Mr. Maguire.
What's going on? Is there a problem?
Geoffrey and Sean stand back from the film cans like townfolk taking cover as two gunslingers square up to each other in the street. We hold on Jim's face as he draws closer. He kneels down into extreme close-up and we cut to the film title on the cans. He looks up at Geoffrey and Sean.
There must be some mistake.
The film distributor said you could call them. Mr. Kilquaid has changed all the bookings.
It has to be a mistake.
Film is better than reality in many ways. In reality, Jim would have to wait and pace and phone the distributor and feel the ticking away of each second until we could confront Adrian Kilquaid. In film, there is the writer and the director and the editor to carry us on with the narrative. So now we cut to Jim's office and Adrian entering as Jim sits brooding.
You changed my bookings.
Ah, has the film arrived?
Yes.
Good. There's a problem with publicity because I didn't contact the newspaper soon enough. We'll be advertising your choice when in fact we'll be showing my choice.
You can't show that film.
Any film I choose to show, we show.
The Apollo has never, ever in its history shown a limited certificate film.
Haven't you ever heard of change? This is change, and it's just the beginning.
The film is not going to the projection room. I have it here, and I refuse to allow it into the projection room.
Film is detail. Film tells its story by the way it focuses attention through choice of shots. So we cut now to the stack of film cans behind Jim's desk. Kilquaid moves forward. He looks at the cans and looks at Jim. Evocative, ominous music creeps up as the two stare at each other.
Now listen, Maguire. I give you two simple choices. You can either take that film up to the projection room, or you can take your coat and leave this cinema forever. I own this cinema, and I can fire you. The fact is, I want to fire you. The only possible use you'll be to me is if you run this cinema in my absence, as I would run it myself. If you won't follow my instructions, you're no use to me whatsoever. The choice is yours. You say now what it's going to be. Obey me, or go.
We cut to the foyer. The office door opens and Jim emerges carrying the film cans. As film luck would have it, Geoffrey and Sean have finished their cleaning and are coming into the foyer from the cinema as Jim emerges. They stare at him. Kilquaid stands beside him, triumphant.
I want you to know that this is the start of a new managerial approach in the Apollo. From now on, we show films that draw audiences, not films that Jim Maguire wants to show. I'm the boss of the Apollo, and I will be obeyed at all times. Isn't that right, Maguire? I said, isn't that right, Maguire?
Yes. Yes, that's right.
It's not unusual in films for the hero to be humiliated or defeated at some point. It happened to Shane. It happened even to Cat Ballou. So here we see Jim Maguire carry the film cans past Geoffrey and Sean. They glance at him, then lower their eyes. He walks up the stairs to the projection room, followed by a gloating Kilquaid, and he delivers the film cans to the projectionist. This is the cue for a montage of dark images, perhaps tilted camera angles, certainly long shadows. It's evening at the Apollo, the first evening of the once familiar routine being presented as eerie and forbidding. A boy rushes in and Mrs. Clack is about to sell him a ticket. Geoffrey stops her in time.
No children allowed. This is an over-18s film.
You can't be serious.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Clack. I was going to break it to you, but I didn't quite know how to. Changes have been made by Mr. Kilquade.
Nothing is the same. The track along the audience in the dark shows leering faces of old men and acne-riddled 18-year-olds. When the track reaches the alcove, Jim isn't there. We cut to him sitting in his office, brooding, staring at the photos on his wall. At the end of the night, when Geoffrey is leaving and all is quiet, there is no light conversation between himself and Jim. Geoffrey skulks away into the dark night and Jim walks into the empty cinema. He calls out for his hero, his friend, his only hope in this hour.
Duke? Duke? Duke, are you there? I'm here, Jim. I'm right here.
Do you see what's happening?
I see what I don't want to see.
Kilquade has taken over.
Seems like you're letting him take over.
I have no choice. He owns the Apollo.
You're the law here, Jim. You always have been. The people turn to you like they turn to their sheriff. You've got to be the one who faces up fair and square to trouble when it comes to town.
I'm powerless. I can't reason with him. I can't make him see things my way.
If a man is right, he can prove it, Jim. If a man is right, he can look another man in the eye and stare him down.
Duke, I'm afraid.
Everyone feels fear, Jim. It's whether or not you let fear make the decisions that counts. You gotta be able to keep your head cool no matter what your gut is doing. You gotta find a way of standing up fair and square to this trouble.
If I was fired from the Apollo, I wouldn't have a life.
In the end, it's always the man with right on his side who has the quickest gun. I know that for sure.
There are many shades of darkness. There are many kinds of heroes. Some are clean and just. Others simply know how to get their way. Jim carries a cast of heroes in his illusions. Some come to him only on very, very rare occasions. Some heroes are made of ice, their hearts as cold as their eyes.
Maguire? Maguire?
Oh, not you. Please.
I hear you have a problem. I reckon it's time we did business again.
No, never again. I swore.
All we gotta do is agree a price.
You don't belong here. I'm not going to listen to you.
You'll call me. You'll call me, Maguire. And my price just went up $100. The longer you wait, the higher it gets. Seems like I'll do well on this little deal.
Jim runs from the cinema, and we cut to a dark night shot of its exterior. The storm clouds are gathering. We fade to black and fade up a daylight shot. We cut inside as Geoffrey knocks on the door of Jim's office.
Come in.
Mr. Maguire, sorry to bother you.
What is it, Geoffrey?
In the switch room. I thought we should call in an electrician. There are some cables out of the transformer which seem frayed. It could be dangerous. It might cause a short circuit.
Oh, I'll take a note.
Thank you, sir.
Geoffrey.
Yes, Mr. Maguire?
About what's